of God, Son of Man, God incarnate, Word made flesh, and more. Let me ask you to seriously consider this. How do you think Jesus would treat Moses, Mohammed, and Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, if they came to a crosswalk together? Would Jesus push Moses aside and demand to cross first, claiming that his ancestors' failed religion had been forever superseded by his own? Would he trade insults with Mohammed, claiming his crusaders could whoop Mohammed's jihadists any day of the week, demanding that Mohammed cross behind, not beside him? Would Jesus demand the Buddha kneel at his feet and demonstrate submission before letting him cross? Or would he walk with them and, once on the other side, welcome each to a table of fellowship, not demanding any special status or privileges, maybe even taking the role of a servant, hanging up their coats, getting them something to eat and drink, making sure each felt welcome, safe, and at home? If his three counterparts reached out their hands in friendship, it's pretty hard to imagine that the friend of sinners would cross his arms or turn his back, refusing to reciprocate. It's much more likely he would embrace them with open arms and without hesitation, proving himself over time to be the best friend they ever had. It's pretty hard to imagine Jesus cursing or smiting them, but entirely natural to imagine him blessing them and doing unto others as he would want them to do for him. I have no doubt that Jesus would actually practice the neighborliness he preached, rather than following our example of religious supremacy, hostility, fear, isolation, misinformation, exclusion, or demonization. After all, according to the four Gospels, Jesus had extraordinary insight into human character. He saw value where others saw only flaws. He saw the love of a sinful woman who anointed his feet with tears at a banquet, the spiritual thirst of an oft-married woman at a well in Samaria, the big seed of hope in a little chap named Zacchaeus, the undeniable faith of a Syrophoenician mother, the flinty strength of loudmouth Peter, and the deep and spunky wisdom of Mary of Bethany. With that track record in mind, we can only imagine what he would see in Mohammed, Moses, or the Buddha, not to mention Confucius, Lao Tzu, Nanak, or Wovoka. It seems ridiculous to imagine that he would be insecure among them, considering them his rivals, or that he would find it necessary to extract from them explicit agreement on fundamental doctrines before condescending to cross a road with them. It's unthinkable, if one of them came to confer with him by night, like Nicodemus, or in broad daylight, like the rich young ruler, that he would intimidate them, threaten them, call down fire upon them, patronize them, or humiliate them. Maybe his followers would pull out a sword and slash off their ears, or herd them and their followers into ghettos, concentration camps, or reservations where their influence could be limited. But never Jesus, never. And if you know anything about Mohammed, Moses, and the Buddha, how do you think they would approach Jesus and one another if they encountered one another along the road? Is it a joke to think they would respect one another and be drawn toward one another as friends, allies, collaborators? Isn't it more ridiculous to imagine any other outcome? I can't help but think of recent scenes of Archbishop Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama, a Christian and a Buddhist, almost giddy in their friendship and mutual regard. So why might Jesus, Moses, the Buddha, and Mohammed cross the road? Imagine if the answer were to go to a bar. That answer wouldn't be funny, and many, in fact, would find it offensive. But wouldn't that open the way for another joke that would begin, Jesus, Moses, the Buddha, and Mohammed walk into a bar? Walking into a bar, of course, is the scene of even more jokes than crossing a road. So we might expect a chuckle as Mohammed orders a Wahhabi cocktail, a mixed drink of warm milk, sugar, and hot tea, since alcohol is officially forbidden to Muslims and the Wahhabis are known for their strictness on such matters. We might expect a smile as the Buddha makes a sage comment about the mindful breaking of the fifth precept, after which he orders a mojito, then makes a toast to moderation in all things, including following the fifth precept. And perhaps there would be outright laughter if Moses were to part his margarita and Jesus were to order water and then, with a wink, turn it into a fine Stellenbosch pinotage.